I don't know how someone could actually do something like this. I think we really need to ask the question, how could something like this happen? How could somebody do something so evil?
This is Rep. Ronnie Jackson of Texas, and he got the memo on what he needs to say from his puppet masters.
When I grew up, things were different. You know, there was a focus on family and community and church, and I think that, you know, we knew each other.
Want me to prove it?
What's changed is the culture. The nuclear family's collapsing before our eyes. Church attendance is at an all-time low. Kids' brains are being warped by social media. And we forced our kids into lockdowns.
Because you see, from members of Congress to Fox News hosts, it's the same blueprint being pounded down the throats of conservatives.
Isolating them from socializing with each other and pushing them deeper into video games and wicked internet sites.
Like 4chan? Is that what you're saying? Like how the extremists in your base go on those sites? Clown behavior.
Our culture has changed over the last 30 or 40 years, and there's been an attack on those things in particular. And I just think that kids are exposed to all kinds of horrible stuff nowadays too. I look back and I think about the horrible stuff that they hear when they listen to rap music, the video games that they watch.
They're in lockdowns because of the guns. You twerp.
You want teachers to be police officers? And their police officers can't even stop these mother with these weapons. That's the intent. The intent when they manufacture this stuff is to make sure that you are not stopped with the gun. What don't you get?
Our guy Tony Michaels puts it well and passionately. It's the old BS line of thinking. Blame minorities. Blame LGBTQ and their community. Blame rap music. Blame a lack of churchgoers. No. None of those are the reason. You know what? Screw you, Ronnie Jackson. Owned by the gun lobby for a putrid donation, you soulless, spineless, as many brain cells as a bike tire stuck in the mud, moronic sellout. Are you kidding me? The tiresome act is what conservatives do over and over again to deflect blame from one thing. Their gun lobby donors. That's all this is. Or because a corrupt individual like Ronnie Jackson, who MSNBC reported texted with the Oath Keepers on January 6th. Or when he blamed Omicron on a Dem conspiracy. Or that, he's under investigation. The usual GOP stuff. Bill frickin' O'Reilly pulled this debunk card in 2015. He said, there is no question the people of faith are being marginalized by a secular media and pernicious entertainment. The rap industry, for example, often glorifies depraved behavior that sinks into the minds of some young people, the group that is most likely to reject religion. In 2014, Mississippi Republican Senate candidate Chris McDaniel, seen here with a damn Confederate flag behind him, blamed rising gun violence on a hip-hop culture that values rap and destruction of community values more than it does poetry. Oh, please give me a break. McDaniel went on to conflate rap music with failing schools and broken communities because of course he did. Conservative radio host Rush Limbaugh did more of these BS tactics.
Hip-hop. Hip-hop has done more damage to black and brown people than racism in the last 10 years.
And of course, Geraldo Rivera. It's the easiest of targets for absolutely anything and everything with these people, these brain-dead people.
The United States is not a bad nation, it's a noble nation. And then you go out there and you talk to a lot of younger people, and this is what gets me. That your constituency are not exactly political science PhDs, okay?
They blamed hip-hop in 2007 when nationally syndicated radio host John Gibson remarked, another example of hip-hop culture bringing murder and mayhem into the rest of our society. No, you demonic plague. It's still the ability for anybody to get a firearm in this country with ease. They blame it on COVID lockdowns. They blame it on video games. They blame it on Kendrick Lamar. I am reiterating. I am drilling it into your head. All they care about is their donors. All they care about is the gun lobby. All they care about is donations from the gun lobby. All of this is smoke and mirrors. It's BS. All of it is excuses. All they care about is their donors. Period.
It's about the Republicans in that Senate who are wrapped up with the NRA and all the gun lobbyists and everything else who are afraid. There's 310 million guns in America for 300 million people. who are afraid that if they get tough here, that somehow they're going to get knocked out of office because their states love guns.
First Take co-host Chris Mad Dog Russo.
Love guns. Do you think everybody brings up the Second Amendment. What do you think George Washington, Sam Adams, Jefferson, Ben Franklin, what do you think they're thinking about right now? You think they thought this? There was no police. There was no state militia back in 1780 when they did the state Second Amendment. It's not the same thing. This is totally different today. I mean, it's ridiculous. You're going to bring up the Second Amendment, well, I have my right to have guns, and you're going to bring up something that was passed in 1780 and say that applies to today? That is absolutely absurd.
And guess what? He's 100% right on the outdatedness of the Second Amendment.
And the other thing, Abbott, the governor, and again, I play it right down the middle. Cruz, that senator. And how about the representative of that community that were in West San Antonio and West Texas? They all voted no on gun control deals in March. They voted no on it. And then Adam yesterday gives me this big deal about how we're heartbroken. Well, you had a chance to do something about it. You did nothing.
It's true. They did absolutely nothing. There's more that I will play momentarily, but first, for Abbott and Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, who has been spewing great replacement theory talking points for years now, Rafael Cruz and the mayor of Uvalde, to call Beto O'Rourke an embarrassment for interrupting their putrid little presser where they went up there and lied to families. Shame on them. And now, just days after elementary school children were murdered via the same lax gun laws these ghouls, the anti-pro-life, shameless cowards fought to keep in place, they will be attending the NRA's convention in the very state where those school children were massacred. According to the Giffords Law Center to Prevent Gun Violence, which advocates for gun control and studies gun laws across the country, 7 of the deadliest mass shootings in the history of the U.S. happened in the country over the past decade, and 4 of them, including the Uvalde shooting, happened where? In their freaking state. In the wake of these shootings, Abbott signed a series of bills into law last year designed to further ease access to firearms. He argued that each piece of legislation strengthens the Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. Among the bills signed by Abbott last year was House Bill 1927, dubbed as constitutional carry by gun rights advocates. The law made it legal for law-abiding Texans to carry handguns without a license or training. The law went into effect on September 1st, 2021. In Texas, you had to be 21 years old to get a license to carry a handgun, but the 2021 amendment made it possible for 18-year-olds like the shooter to receive a license if they meet other requirements other than age and if they are protected under various protective orders, including having been a victim of violence, stalking, or sexual abuse. If I had to give you one guess, take a wild stab at who was celebrating this. Go ahead. That's right, the gun lobbyists and groups, hailing the state's recent laws to loosen gun restrictions, including a measure passed last year authorizing residents to carry handguns without licenses or training. Furthermore, Abbott signaled support for red flag gun laws. Then this happened. He abandoned it completely. The law would authorize police or family members to petition a court for removal of a firearm from someone considered a threat. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick, of course a Republican, an adamant gun rights supporter, strongly opposed that measure. And of course, the posturing, the pandering, the pivoting, the dangling some other meaningless thing as a faux pas solution because they are in so deep with the gun lobby is simply what Republicans do when it comes to issues like this.
What they need now more than ever is our love. What they need is uplifting.
Yes. Yes, we need uplifting and prayer and love. You know what I think would uplift me and what I would love? I will pray that you have some sort of backbone to pass some form of legislation so this doesn't happen again. That's what I'd love.
Or the folks who make a big deal, this is about mental illness. Well, how come this doesn't happen in Britain? I was in Ireland. What, there's no mental illness in Ireland? France, Spain, Germany, Italy. You don't see this happening in those countries because the gun availability is not there. You are not a 15-year-old kid at a boarding school in Britain who can walk into a gun shop and buy 330 magazines and 5 assault weapons. You can in the United States.